glow, coffee cold, mind's woke, 2 mics, 1 code, yeah, yeah. Scrolling through the chaos, headlines loud, hearts numb, then I hear that drip talk. Cutting through the hum, gem with the side eye, true stain with the data in his cup. They don't just gas up dreams, they show you how to level up. Oh, from the hustle to the headlines, from the culture to the grind. Every angle, every timeline, they lace and never waste your time. Welcome to the daily drip, let it run, let it run, let it hit. Oh, tech and politics, stacking common sense, turn it up, feel it in your chest, clicking, let your future flip like describe your own ascent, every gem, every take, every tip, and oh, yeah, they make it make sense, yeah. I'm tired from the doom feed, faith in rent thick, algorithm playing mind games, selling you the same quick fix, then I catch that real talk about credit scores and crypto slips, union fights and AI rights, and why your boss be talking slick. Left lane, right lane, truth rise in the same frame. If it's cap, they call names. If it's facts, they fan flames. Oh yeah. Welcome to the daily drip. Let it run, let it run, let it run, let it hit. Tech and politics, stacking common sense. Turn it up, feel it in your chest, clicking. Let your future flip like describe your own ascent. Every gem, every take, every tip, and yeah, they make it make sense. Yeah, yeah. From your side gig to your 9 to 5, from the group chat to the bottom line, there's a late night guide through the glitch and grind. If you listen close, you gon' change your life. Change your life. Welcome to the daily drip. Let it run, let it run, let it run, let it hit, hit. Hey, tech and politics, stacking common sense. Turn it up, feel it in your chest, ticking. Let your future flip like subscribe to your own ascent. Every gem, every take, every tip. Our daily drip, they make it make sense.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Daily Drip Show. It's me, your solo host today, Jim Jones, in the building to give you all a little bit of that talk techie to me down below are the socials. So thank you for dripping real late with me. This is a pop-up drip too, so thanks for just popping on. Along with me normally is Plain Dame. He's not here tonight. And then Cassius Pay is usually riding with me, but he's not here tonight. So y'all got me all by myself to talk to y'all about a little bit of tech. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and do that. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. If I haven't convinced you yet, just go ahead and stick around because we're going to go ahead and get to it. I am Jim Jones. Thank you, Lady Princess. Shout out to you. Thank you for coming in and dripping with us. Drop some drip in the comments. Let me know where you're coming from. Excited for y'all to be here with me. So let's go ahead. Today, y'all, we have a lot of different topics. We're going to talk about some things going on with AI, from layoffs to, I guess, unlaying off. So yeah, go ahead, stick around and let's get into it. So listen, y'all, corporate America is gutting its staff for AI and the people are furious. At the end of the day, we all know that companies have been openly bragging, saying, hey, we're going to cut costs by having AI, right? Are they though? Are they actually? They're bragging to Wall Street that firing humans is going to save them a buck. But let's take a look at some of these videos and see, are they really saving money? What's the real deal here? Let's go to this. And the question at hand too is AI actually driving the layoffs? Or could it possibly be something else?
I'm Christine Frizzell in Washington, where we're taking a look at an economy that's chugging along with some good news, but some alarming numbers. While layoffs have cooled recently, falling last month, what's having an outsized impact on those layoffs that are occurring? Artificial intelligence. They're already filling our prescriptions and delivering our food. Across America, robots have simply become a reality, a sign of the times and rapidly expanded use of artificial intelligence, with some reasons for optimism, especially when it comes to productivity.
It might help with the cost curve around healthcare, that we might make it more efficient and it won't be quite so as expensive for American households.
But artificial intelligence is also the top reason given by companies for layoffs, followed by market conditions, business closures, and restructuring.
So real quick, let's look at this. People are saying, hey, AI is the reason why we have all these layoffs. So 100,000 jobs in the first 6 months of the year, which is quite a bit, right? Another percentage of that are market economic conditions. So basically saying, hey, we can't afford to keep the people that we have. So that's why we have to lay people off. Obviously, there's been businesses that have closed. And then obviously contract loss is going to be a downstream effect of obviously market conditions. But it's interesting. A lot of people have lost a lot of jobs, and these companies will be like, oh, it's because AI is making things more efficient. But I mean, if they haven't set everything else up correctly, is it really more efficient? Because you definitely needed a human to start off, but let's go ahead and continue.
Accounting for more than 100,000 layoffs this year alone.
If a lot of people get laid off, we'll need more spending on income support, things like nutrition assistance and healthcare assistance for low-income workers.
But proponents of AI, including President Trump's recent pick to head the Federal Reserve Bank, predict AI will bring brighter days ahead.
Who knew when the internet was born that the internet was going to create 1.5 million jobs as Uber drivers? We are in the first or second inning of this revolution.
But on Capitol Hill, it's becoming clear lawmakers are hearing from their constituents. The issue even scrambling party lines, both Democrats and Republicans calling for more regulation of the technology and warning of the harm it could bring.
Now, before they get into the lawmakers of this, let's go back to the one big beautiful bill. There is, and we point this out often on the show, but in the one big beautiful bill, there is a part in there that says, hey, let's basically not be super scrutinizing on AI for the next 10 years, which is wild. So as people begin to say, hey, we don't like this, we don't want this, or this is being a negative impact, there's already legislation that is basically giving a cushion on regulations and regulatory restrictions and really the lack thereof for it.
And that is the goal, that machines will be able to do the job you are doing better than you are doing. If that happens, pretty simple question, what happens to the workers?
We should prevent AI from taking over jobs that only humans ought to do. Dispensing medication, providing personal counsel, arguing in court, to name just a few.
Emotions running high for those aged 40.
So we have a video where we had a lawyer, there was a guy going to court and he lawyered up with AI and it was quite ridiculous. So that's an example of what Josh Hawley was talking about.
14 to 29, referred to as Gen Z, according to a recent Gallup poll. 42% said AI makes them anxious, 31% angry, a 9% jump from last year. Many headed to college in just a couple of months, now faced with new questions about what to study and how different the world may look when they graduate. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
So another video that we had talked about was there were graduations, and I'm sure all of y'all probably heard this through social media, but there were different graduations where the speaker was like, oh yeah, and AI is going to change the future. And everybody's like, boo, get off the stage. We don't want to hear that. Gen Z does not care about that. They see the writing on the wall of, you tell me that automation is going to make my life better and all these things. And then like, I can't get a job. And it's really not rocket science. So let's talk a little more about layoffs. Let's go into the auto industry because they seem to think they have it figured out, but really do they?
dead. Now, GM says this situation isn't how it might look from the outside. So let's get over to Nick, who's got the full story here. Nick, is it as simple as GM replacing hundreds of humans with machines, or is there more to it?
There's more to it, Marky. GM says no, but that's not how it appeals to those who work there, right? The company has not drawn a direct line between each layoff and each new machine. What we can say is that GM cut more than 1,000 jobs at GM's Factory Zero plant in Detroit, which is all electric. Then they installed roughly 50 robots on the assembly line. The collaborative robots, or as they are called, cobots, made by the Fanuc American Corporation, help employees attach body panels on vehicles.
I wonder who
Jim says they are
comes from,
designed to work beside
stock that
people,
might be.
improving safety, ergonomics, flexibility, and competitiveness. The company has also said its production cuts were driven by slower electric vehicle demand. But to workers who have watched their plant shrink, the order of events is hard to ignore. Their jobs disappeared, then the robots arrived.
The threat of humanoid robotics and mass automation. It's a profound threat and a challenge to our way of life, to our economy, and our political system.
Now, if you don't know who that is, I can't remember his name, but I think it's Sean. He's the head of the union. So he speaks on behalf of the union workers who the GM plant has a union. I don't know if all of them have unions, but they definitely do. And so he's speaking on behalf of them. Some people are not so happy with him. And some people, they had that big strike that happened. And so, he would be the person to go up there and talk on their behalf. And as he's doing here.
We need to be clear about this. We are in a fight for humanity.
Now, a GM spokesperson calls the robots a part of a broader push toward using more advanced tech company-wide, Marky.
All right, we'll watch that closely, see where it goes next. Nick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's wild. So did y'all see the robots that were going by? I mean, the ability for the robots to do the things that they're doing compared to what a human can do. So if you think about it, physically, we're going to reduce costs, right? Because we don't have to pay benefits. We're going to have it be more efficient because the robot itself can actually lift the physical object more than an actual human. Liability technically would be less, right? I'm sure to insure it, it's probably less. But is it though? That's really what we're going to keep going back to. But is it though? Now, those are areas where they're not doing necessarily human interaction. The robots are more so doing taskings, like moving from A to B and so forth. Let's take a look at what happens when they have to interact with humans. How does that look? What do those robots kind of look like?
Story we want you to check out. A team of robot nurses are now working at a Texas hospital.
Yeah, that's right. This technology isn't necessarily designed to replace human nurses. Officials say they're there to allow the medical staff to spend more time with patients. Luke Johnson has more from Odessa.
That's interesting.
Meet Moxie, the 5-foot, 300-pound service robot that is now employed at Odessa Regional Medical Center. It transports things like medications and supplies throughout the entire hospital 24 hours a day.
We are super excited to have Moxie on site. She's been in the ER all day today, helping run lab specimens. Everybody's really excited to have.
So take a look at this robot. So this is the future, y'all. This is what they consider to have medications coming to you. It considers for it to be able to take care of you and get it correct. Look at what it looks like. Of course, this is the beginning stages, right? It's going to evolve. It'll probably look more and more human over time. But I personally haven't ran into one of these. But as you can see in Texas, they got them.
Finally, a go live date.
A total of 3 robots are a part of the ORMC team. They use locked drawers to securely transport items and scan QR codes around the hospital to navigate around. They are equipped with ORMC badges to get in and out of locked areas.
That's insane. Anybody can make a QR code. But that's insane. It is carrying around medication and it can access anything in the building. It can access anywhere in the building for the most part. That is crazy with nobody monitoring it. That they're not saying there's like a person. I'm sure there's someone monitoring it, but no one like going with it. It's not like assisting a person going from A to B. It's like not autonomous, but almost. It's kind of crazy.
Massively reduces the steps taken by busy nurses.
The burden of walking across the hospital, the miles they put on, and that falling on them when in reality they should be focusing on patient care and impacting the community that they serve within the hospital. I think that's what's so great about Moxie.
There's been a lot of chatter about these AI-powered robots slimming the job market. ORMC nurses shot those rumors down.
Everybody's like, oh, they're going to take your jobs. They're not. They're a tool to make us better at our jobs so that we can spend more time with the patients.
The robots feature LED lights that shine when they interact with patients and staff. Developers with Diligent Robotics says the hard eyes has a competitive impact.
The hard eyes is always a hit. I think when people go by, I think that's one of the biggest things I always hear is nurses saying like, I got hard eyes, and someone else says, I didn't get hard eyes. And it's always a competition who has the better relationship with Moxie.
Oh, I think they're the cutest thing ever. It just makes my day when they come down the halls and you see the heart eyes.
As the region grows, innovations like this are going to help hospitals operate more efficiently while meeting increasing patient demands.
This almost feels illegal to know if you're.
That's insane. The hard eyes. Oh, it gave me the hard eyes to soften it, which I have a better relationship with it. Like we're we're giving it emotions is absolutely wild. Let's get an empathy check real quick. Would you let a robot take care of your grandma? Put a 1 in the chat if you would. Put a 2 if you absolutely would not. Because the thing is, humanity and empathy, touch, intuition is not replicable. I'm sure the goal is to make a humanoid. Humanoid, in case you don't know what that is, it's a robot that has human-like features, potentially mannerisms. So not just the visual, but also, movements and care. But remember, the robots are mimicking people. It's not like it's innately doing this. It's modeled. It models something. So I don't know. Drop a 1 if you would let it take care of your grandma. Drop a 2 if you would not. For me, it's a no for me. It's going around giving out medications. I mean, people can mess up too. We got to keep it real. People can mess up too. And people do mess up. People do mess up. But ain't no prosecution for no robot. Ain't no justice if a robot messes it up. I guess I think about, this is gonna be an extreme example. I think about I shouldn't say it. I know it's horrible. If you think about something to be able to happen again, so let's say something bad to me, I wouldn't want something bad to happen to me. It's a robot. They shut that robot down. But Moxie 2.0 is just right around the corner. So it's not like you root cause, cut it out. It's just a different version, or even something that was made from it is just going to emerge. So to me, that's a no for me. But drop a 1 if you would. You think it's great, possibly. Drop a 2 if that's a no for you. So we're being told that these robots and AI systems are clean, efficient, and futuristic. But I don't know. The robot nurses are automated with emails. They make I don't know. I can't get with it, y'all. Maybe I'm just not with it. Maybe it's just me, but can't be just me. Because the data center. So let's go into from robots to data centers, things that, will make everything easier for us, right? Technology is going to make it easier for us. Well, there's been some devastating impacts of AI and data centers. So let's take a look at what the people in Virginia, what they have to say about how the data centers are impacting their lives. Maybe they think it's great. Maybe it's just me.
Washington, federal regulators now approving a plan to make it easier for data centers to connect to the U.S. power grid. The move comes after tech companies complain that it took too long to get connected. The chairman of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission calling the vote historic, saying it addresses concerns of affordability.
Well, hold on. It's taking too long to use your money from your energy. I'm sure you've heard about it, but check your electric bill. If you have a data center in your vicinity of where you live, I bet that electric bill went up. The audacity to complain about something that you're making everybody else's bills go up for, that we don't get a kickback for, but okay.
Many Americans are increasingly concerned about the interconnection of large loads, and data centers will increase their bills and that stress. As chairman, I am taking extremely seriously the mission that Congress has entrusted to ensure that rates are reasonable and that Americans pay their fair share or less.
The commission's move comes as cities all across the country face the record growth of data centers and the community concerns that come with them. No place knows that better than in Northern Virginia, home of the highest concentration of data centers, known as Data Center Alley. And our man on the ground there, Brian Enton, who's been covering this for us recently.
Data Center Alley is crazy. Like the skid row of data centers is wild.
With what's going on, and I'm fascinated to learn about what folks there are doing with their mattresses, Brian.
Yeah, and you're going to hear that, Blake. We're in Data Center Alley, and referencing what you said about them connecting to the electric grid, it's interesting because there's two sides to that coin. When they connect to the electric grid, the prices go up. Then there's data centers like this one, where we are in Sterling, Virginia. It's not connected to the electric grid. It has its own power plant, but the issue there is it's noisy and it's right across the street from this neighborhood. And that, Blake, is where the mattresses come in.
Imagine living next to this.
Do y'all hear that? That's insane. You walk out your house and it sounds like there's a helicopter outside.
And having to hear this constant ringing.
So, Hari, we're at your front door.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look in the distance, and there it is.
There it is. It's right there in all its glory.
There it is, the Vantage Data Center, standing tall with its blue walls and massive generators right next to this Sterling, Virginia neighborhood. What did you think when they first turned it on?
Well, we were told in the beginning that it's just they test the generators to make sure they're working in case of an emergency. That is what we were told in the beginning. And then as the year and the months have gone on,
They just never turned off?
They're just never turned off.
No, they thought they was going to turn off the money. Why would they turn off the money? What? Anybody, if they're building the data center where you live at, that's your new neighbor. Y'all neighbors, okay? Y'all neighbors from here on out. That's crazy. Girl.
Hari says they told them the generators were just temporary. But that was more than a year ago. The massive data center was never hooked up to the power grid, so the generators are the only source of electricity.
It reminds me of, do you remember if y'all ever seen the Goofy movie? A Goofy movie was back in the 90s. It came out. It is a spin-off movie of Goofy, Goofy from Mickey Mouse and Disney. He went on ahead and had his own movie with his son Max. They go on a road trip. During the road trip, they run into Pete. Pete got the suit cooped out RV with all the gadgets, everything. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Goofy and Max went and found a nice little hotel room that was affordable that they could stay in. Pete sees him, pulls up, is like, hey, can I just connect to recharge my RV stuff just for a little bit? Yeah, just for a little bit. Man, he takes this big old huge pipe and runs through from his RV into the motel room, and it's ridiculous. Like, I don't think the door could close because it was so big. I feel like this is the case. You didn't say could I hook up this gigantic, huge, it was huge. Like, I think, what's his name? Pete's son, I can't remember what his name is, but he had to pick up the whole thing up like this and bring it in there. What? You didn't say all that. And he said it's just a teeny tiny line. It absolutely was not. That's what I feel like this is. Goofy is the people in Virginia in this situation, and Pete is 100% these the data center owners, and that these generators are the equivalent of that line. Insane.
You just hear this noise. It's just like you just want to curse. You know, it's that bad.
Greg Pirio also lives right next door.
Our concern is property values. Unless we can mitigate this, and we're talking about lawyers with options of what we can do and all that, you know, we know that we're not going to get the values for our homes that we could have gotten before.
It's absolutely not, because who is drop some drip in the comments. Tell me how much money they would have to take off for you to even consider buying their house. What kind of discount would it take for you to even consider living in that neighborhood? Or maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you want to live next to that. Drop some drip. Let us know. Well, let me know, rather, because it's just me today.
It's about more than money. It's quality of life. One neighbor here even put plexiglass up against the window to block the noise. And they have their own sound meters to monitor the noise.
This is a dashboard that some of my neighbors set up.
Virginia.
Bro is tired. Look, these people are tired. They put a dashboard up to monitor the sound. Is wild. They took their time to show how loud it is out there.
Virginia is the data center epicenter of the world. There are hundreds of them, consuming more than 25% of the state's power, driving up electric bills.
They can build their own power plants as part of their factory, so that no one's prices will go up. And in many cases, prices of electricity will go down for the community, and very substantially down.
President Trump's plan to keep the data centers off the power grid is good for keeping electric rates down. And there are positives with data centers. They create jobs when they're built. They create local tax revenue, which helps schools. It can help lower property taxes. And they're pretty much inevitable with the way we use technology these days, arguably becoming.
I mean, yeah, they're going to lower property taxes because the house is going to be worth less, so people are going to buy them for less. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that is in fact true.
Essential infrastructure. The neighbors here don't disagree, and they don't hate all data centers, but think they shouldn't be so close to neighborhoods.
What would you say to people in other parts of the country where they hear, oh, a data center's considering coming?
Do everything in your power to try to stop it from being built in an area that has any residential properties within, 10 to 15 miles of it.
Oh my gosh.
And the mattresses come in, by the way, Blake, there is one guy who put a mattress up over his window because the noise sometimes gets so loud. In terms of the data center here, they have said in the past that they're monitoring the noise. They don't believe that they've gone outside the norms or what's allowed within the county here. But obviously the neighbors would disagree.
Blake. It was so fascinating, Brian, to hear you describe it as essential infrastructure, because it is. If you want the AI, you need the data center. But then we've heard this time and time again, and you see it with your story, a lot of residents pushing back because they get that in their backyard. It's fast.
That's insane. So one thing it didn't cover is water use. We did talk about this in another video, but the amount of water that's used for the data centers can be insane. So eventually the rubber is going to hit the road on the water use too. Like, we cannot be using clean water, and the data centers use clean water as well. So between energy, clean water, and let's also talk about the acreage. What she said was, hey, this is cool, but don't put that in my neighborhood. Well, where would you expect us to put it, ma'am? Like, where would you want us to put these centers? She would say, why don't you put it in your neighborhood? Preferably out in the boonies. Put it somewhere there. Yeah, go do that. So how's that gonna work? What, to me, the ignorant part on that is a lot of places that have acreage that's, going to be 10, 15, 20 minutes, 20 miles away from residential. Is going to be places that potentially don't have the infrastructure set up to have the internet lines to be able to run it out. Also potentially even power. Like if you haven't been to a more rural area, maybe you wouldn't know that, but they're not exactly going to sign up to have to build more stuff to sit it out there to route it back to you when they could save the money by charging you and having it next door to you. Well, it ain't all rainbows and butterflies for those who are using AI, because our final talk is going to be about regrets. So there's employers now who laid off a bunch of people and said, AI is the future. And then they found out, yeah, so I'm gonna need y'all to come back to the office because it ain't working. So shout out to the Master Investor. This is on Instagram from him. Ford, we're gonna focus on Ford specifically. It is one of the latest companies that basically say, hey, we got some quality issues. We got some issues with actually having things work the way and set up the way that we want. I need y'all to come back in. We were just kidding. We didn't mean to lay you off. We did not mean to lay you off. So comments are kind of funny. At the end of the day, this comment right here is 100% true. Said AI shouldn't be the replacement. It should be the central hub that teams plug into. I would agree. So let's also just step back for a second. It's not that AI is necessarily bad, but it's just the way, and drops the drip when it comes to you disagree, but for me, what I am saying is the way that companies are weaponizing AI is actually really, really the problem. They weaponize it in a way of replacement, that it is more efficient instead of it just being a tool to make you more efficient. If they would have just left people alone, introduce AI, let them use it, see benefits, and kind of leave it like that, you would have a really good business and use case of, do we need all these people? They're not even doing that. They saw like a little sprinkle of something working. They said, save that money, get out of here. But in Ford's situation, not such a good idea.
The victim of bad AI, will you tell us, did they fall for something, a spam email?
It could have been in a sense. In reality, what we're talking about here is in recent years, Ford has sacked hundreds of its engineers to make room for AI, which it believed would be able to do those folks' jobs for less money.
So AKA, they said, listen, we can replace you. Get out. Get out. They did the Jeffrey from the Jazz from the Fresh Prince. They did the George Jefferson. They said, get out. Bye. We don't need you. Sayonara. Don't need you. And then
guess what? It didn't turn out that way.
It
and
didn't
what's
work
Ford
out
doing
for
now?
you.
They're rehiring many of the same workers that they showed the door to so they could come back and do the jobs that AI couldn't do. Now, many of those jobs in question involve quality control. That is, making sure Ford is getting the results it desires on the factory floor. And it turns out AI lacked the capability to make such judgments. Why? Because it has no gut instincts. And it turns out that when it comes to quality control, being able to eyeball the parts or eyeball the process and make some gut instinct as to how this is going to affect quality overall, that's a distinctly human skill.
So let's bring that back for a second. I don't know if that's distinctly a human skill, but we must remember AI, robots, all of the things that are programmed are only as good as the person programming it. What does that mean? We'll say Jimmy. Jimmy is the one who the robot is mimicking. Jimmy seems to do everything right. They say, Jimmy, got that robot, my guy. Get out of here, you're laid off. Well, they're talking about this eyeball concept. That doesn't mean that it can't do that. It's just more than likely Jimmy wouldn't have been able to outline the exact steps for it to be replicated in that way. So I don't know if it's so much the eyeballing, more so the person or process to be able to be replicated, kind of like a recipe. We talk about recipes with like grandma, grandma just eyeballs it and boom. But if grandma measured the boom, like grandma did what she did, and every time before she did it, you take it and you kind of like put it to the side about the same amount she did, you'd be able to technically replicate that. But the ability to make that decision is actually the piece of that. Not necessarily that they eyeballed it, but to make something replicable time and time again, and the ability to communicate that is key. And I think what they're going to find out, what they are finding out, especially in the auto industry, is you have a lot of people doing the same methodical things over time. However, that doesn't mean that the way that they're communicating the methodical and process things that they do and how they do it translates in a way that you could just do it the same exact way. I guess you could say maybe even the word choices. And I think that matters. And that is the human piece. Yes, judgment, but the judgment is not being communicated to what judgment means.
At least at this point. So now Ford is bringing people back to be able to handle that. And guess what? Quality has gone back up in the factories. But I'm sorry to say, part of the job of these rehired humans is to train AI to be better at the jobs it was supposed to be better at.
Oh.
Not good for the humans.
Ouch, training your replacement.
Bingo.
Nobody talks about how to structure.
Training your replacement, right? Training your replacement, eh? Sort of. You can train a replacement, but you're going to have to be able to explain the exact things that you needed to absorb, understand, and so forth in order for that to be the case. Job security. Do we think that people really going to say, oh, when I go through and I do a little bit of this and I do a little bit of that, this is how I do it? Or are they going to not explain every single detail? That might actually be the job security. The robots are going to follow the steps they did, but the ability to explain the why is key. It really is key. Do I think, and in conclusion, y'all, do I think AI is going to take everyone's jobs? No. But I do think that maybe for the next year or two, they're going to try damn hard to see what the boundaries are to do that. And if you or us or whatever do not want, our jobs to be taken, then, those are some of the unique values that we have. And I'm not going to say it's going to take everybody's jobs. I do think that AI and robots, those things can make life a lot easier. For example, if you work in a warehouse, instead of you having to pick something up that's heavy and move it from A to B, it just added years to your life by not physically having to do that, by having a machine actually move that weight. Years to your life. So there's definitely positive impacts. Even if you have a desk job, something being automated, you can take your time to go do something else. The only issue I have is that when companies think that the thing that you do is so easy, it could just be done. And as we see, that's not the case, because in order for something to be replicated, in order for something to be automated, have to be able to communicate, replicate, and execute exactly the same for it to be successful. So we'll keep our eyes on this, but Ford is just one of many, many more to come. So when they call y'all back, make sure y'all go get your bag. Go get all that money they owe you, and then the future money. Go get all of it, because you should have never lost your job in the first place. Is how I would at least take it. Is, oh, you call me back. How much money did I lose while I was gone? How much money do I think I'm going to miss out on because you're going to try to replicate this? Nah, I need all my money. Matter of fact, I even need some stock possibly. Because as you start making money on this robot, I want to make money on this robot too. But that's all I got for y'all tonight. Drop a drip in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. This has been another Talk Techy to Me with your girl, Jim Jones. We will be live as we are every Friday night. We're going to try to get on a little bit earlier tomorrow if we can. But normally we're on about 11:30 p.m. EST. But if we can get on a little earlier, like 11:15, we're going to try to do that. So if I don't see y'all tomorrow night, I will see y'all next Friday, the Friday after that, because we're going to be here. Check out the socials below. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And then hit that subscribe button if you aren't already. Once again, I'm Jim Jones. I'm your Talk Techy to Me. And I am out of here, y'all. Bye, y'all.
Street lights hum like a lullaby. Neon whispers paint the sky.